Guys, so hope you're doing good. In this video, I want to actually explain the video that I've made yesterday about Iman and Alex Hormozy, but how you can structure it in a different way so you're able to get a competitive advantage in terms of like your competitors, right? Because you need to create a sort of advantage. And whenever you're selling information, you would never have an advantage over someone else. Because if you leverage a trend and you're able to actually understand that you need to build information in order to sell a product, it goes well. But after 2 or 4 weeks, people are gonna copy you. So you're never able to like differentiate yourself from the market, and make sure that people are gonna sell from you. Because you can buy, like you can make an SMMA course, but tell me how you can ever be able to compete Iman, right? You are never able to compete with Iman within that aspect. So what you need to do is you need to combine the consulting model with the agency model. People always say like, okay, do I need to start a coaching business or an agency? You need to do both. And I'll tell you why. You need to combine information with implementation, right? So the reason for you to actually do that is because that gives you sustainability, right? The only way to scale and to get rich forever is by making sure that you have sustainability within your growth, that you are like exponentially growing and that you have sustainability, right? And the only way to figure out to get sustainability is by making sure you have a mechanism that people can walk through. Like whenever people have a current problem that they face, you need to have the solution ready for that. And the only way to do that is by selling them, like letting them become a customer, then a client, and then a partner, right? So this is the exact structure. In the last video I told about this structure. So create attention, obtain access to millions of customers. So within this range, right? Because like the difference between consulting model and agency is like agency is sort of structure that you deliver every single month in order to gain the results every single month. The consulting model is actually selling a lot of things on volume, right? So it's recurring and volume. And you need both in order to build like $1 million company, right? And this is what I actually learned from Sam Ovens, because Sam Ovens has a mastermind offer, a mastermind live like course. Is that online? So I watched that, and a client of Sam Ovens, Bass, runs actually a consulting business, right? It's a consulting business where they help coaches like scale, right? So it's a scaling a consultancy offer, a coaching offer. And what they do is they're not only selling a high ticket offer, like a collaboration and a high ticket offer. So that would mean collaboration could be like maybe a 100K offer or a percentage of their sales. That's a collaboration, right? So they're a partner. They're also selling high ticket offers, right? Of like 10 to 15K, but they're also selling this. Because what most people do, they are not selling this part. But you are never able to get a lot of attention if you are only selling this, right? If you're only selling this part, you're never able to get a lot of, like you're able to get a lot of attention, but you are never able to enroll a lot of clients that can afford this price, right? So what you need to do in order to get like clients is getting customers first. The difference between customers and clients is that you can see if you have clients or customers is like in the way you need to give them attention. If you need to give people a lot of attention, they're a client. If you don't need to give them any attention, they're a customer. When you go to Starbucks and you're going to buy a coffee, the person that is going to help you spends 2 minutes on making your coffee and you buy it. So you're a customer. You're not a client. Make sense? And whenever you become a client, that means that a certain mechanism, a certain process, a certain person needs to spend more attention. That is the reason why this is a 15K price and this is a 15K, sorry, and $50, right? So in order to get a lot of clients within this process, you need to make sure you get a lot of customers in the front end, right? You need to make sure that you have a lot of attention, that you are be able to obtain a lot of attention from a lot of people. Make sure they go sell your $50 or like $1,500 course, because like this stacks up, right? First, you're going to sell, let's say, an organic marketing course, because I know that Bass sells an organic marketing course. Group coaching, right? High ticket offer and collaboration ultimately when you're a partner, right? That's when you're at like millions, of course, but what we're currently doing for our offers, like only this one. We're not even implementing this. But what I do for this part, I make it free. It's my YouTube. It's the video that you're actually watching right now. That's the content that I deliver. That's the like course that I deliver in order to get a lot of customers, to get a lot of attention, to get a lot of people that are going to listen to me. Because you like, for the audience that I have on Instagram and YouTube, you would be like, you cannot like figure out, like I get a lot of attention. Like seriously, I get a lot of people DMing me every single day about this offer, right? Our price is not 15K, but this is an example, right? So what I want you to understand is that most of the people only have this part of the offer, right? They don't implement this part, but you need to make sure that you implement this, because that creates sustainability. Whenever you are able to enroll a lot of people within this part, what do you think it's easier? Do you think it's easier to sell a lot of, like, do you think it's easier to sell a 15K course to like 100 people? Or do you think it's easier to sell a $50 or $1,500 course to 1,000 people? Right? This is a lot easier, right? So whenever you have a big audience and whenever you figure out that you're stuck, you're probably never able to obtain to actually make sure that people enroll within your program, right? Because what you need is unique customers. Because if you can create customers, you're able to create group coaching, you're able to create a high ticket offer that people gonna buy ultimately, right? And for me, like my customers are actually the people that watch my YouTube. Makes sense? So like you're watching right now. So what I'm gonna create here is I'm gonna create like a sort of community here, right? So what I did here, this is actually the same process that I explained in the last video. Create attention, gain access to a lot of millions of people within this process, right? Storage, stack them, make sure you provide a lot of value within here. So that could be in the course or the group coaching. Boundless returns, you get a lot of like people that are willing to enroll as a client, and that ultimately will create a case study. And then you're able to do like collaboration, right? So a partnership, right? And that is what most people do, right? But in order to make sure that you could give them great results as well, because in order to make sure that you are going to be rich forever instead of being rich in 3 months, because like, I don't care getting 100K for 3 months. That's 300K. That's nothing, right? That like, I'm not able to do anything with 300K, right? I want to have 100K every single month. I want to have millions every single month over and over again. So the only way I'm able to do that is by creating this, right? Because this gives you sustainability, and sustainability creates like exponential growth, right? So that means that whenever I'm able to like enroll a lot of people within this part, you don't need to even run ads for it, right? You can do it organic, because like the best marketers will always come from organic growth. If you're able to put the less money you're able to put in to get a customer, the better marketer you are. Make sense? If you need to spend like $500 for a call, like for every qualified call, and you're able to close one for 2K, that doesn't mean you're a good marketer, right? The less money you spend on acquiring customers, the better marketer you are. Make sense? So that is actually the structure, right? Because whenever you feed this whole process every single day, over and over again, when you feed it, that means that people are actually able to observe a lot of your content. So you will, like, this structure will ultimately always feed this structure over and over and over again, right? Because you obtain a lot of people here, you got a lot of customers here. And after that, people stop. That is what people do. They deliver, but then the results of most people are not that great. So what you do then is you need to have an agency model, an infrastructure that can add all those things. Because like whenever they become a client or a partner, they need to be delivered very well because they pay a high ticket price. So the only way for you to do that, the only way to make sure you get a competitive advantage, and the only way to make sure that you can differentiate yourself from other people is by making sure that you build a lot of different components within your business so that your clients, your partners can knock on the door and can make sure that they can like actually use that, right? So whenever you get a lot of clients, customers, you're able to get a lot of clients, right? And whenever they need appointment setters for their business, right? Whenever they need content distribution, whenever they need like, let's say a short form content offer, whenever they need organic growth, like Reels, YouTube, whatever, who do you think they're gonna go to, right? They all gonna go to those, to your components that you have created because you own this structure. You're the boss. You're the one that owns the ecosystem because you're able to deliver a lot of different things based on the clients that you observe, that you gained. That makes sense, right? So that creates sustainability, and that creates that creates a whole ecosystem and a system that will produce money every single month over and over again exponentially, right? This is what I've learned from Sam Ovens, and it is what he actually, like, I actually didn't learn it from Sam, but I was actually seeing how a client of Sam was doing that, like Bass, and he is exactly structuring it this way, right? He is building different components within the service delivery part, so he is able to deliver to every single client that he gets, right? That means that, like, what most people do is they only take the consulting part, or they only take like the agency part, right? Because what the agency part does is delivering things on a monthly basis, for example, right? Recurring, right? Just delivering a certain service for a certain amount of money, right? What the consulting model does is selling on volume, but you need to combine them together. You need to sell a lot of volume and then being able to sustain that with delivery, right? Like this is you're gonna get rich doing this, and you're gonna stay rich doing this. Make sense? But if you ever want to get rich, if you want to ever get to 100K a month, don't start this model only, because you will never get there. Make sense? So if you're looking like to get rich and to stay rich, do both. Because like I can do this, I can do like the consulting part only. I can definitely do that. Like I say, like clients roll in the program, a 3-month process, and then after that I kick them out, and they got a great results. That's fine. That's what most people do. But if I'm gonna combine it with the agency model, so I build different components that I own myself. So like let's take my course, my implementation program, for example, right? So we have appointment setters that we deliver. We deliver growth specialists, like 2 growth specialists to every single person. So whenever I obtain a customer, so let's say people that observe my YouTube content, or whenever people become a client, I'm actually able to deliver them appointment setters, right? Whenever they need content, I have an editor that they can use, right? So they will always knock on my door because they want my help instead of someone else's help. And that is because I let them become customers. Make sense? Whenever they need organic growth for YouTube, for Instagram, I'll make sure that I have a department of organic growth within my infrastructure. So they can knock on the door, say, Nick, I need your help. And that is why you need to create 2 different things. That is why you need to create information and implementation. That is why you need to become rich and stay rich, right? Because like, I don't care about becoming rich, right? And I also don't care about staying rich, because like, if you are willing to stay rich, you need to become rich first. So you need both, right? I want to do both. I want to become rich and stay rich. Makes sense? And that is actually the process that you need to understand in order to perform on this level, right? So what I'm trying to say with this is that whenever you want to get a competitive advantage on your on other people, on your competitor, make sure that you are able to deliver things that they aren't able to do. Because like doing this, everyone can do this. This is not hard. But this is what differentiates you, right? Making sure that you have a whole appointment setting department within your ecosystem, because then everyone is gonna knock on your door that they need your delivery. Solve every single pain that your customers have, so they're able to become a client and observe more of your like delivery mechanism, right? Because like people become a customer, right? They like absorb content, then they become a client, and then you need to make sure that there's a delivery system in place for every single pain that your customer faces. So that means that you need to make sure that you give them information in the front end, right, and implementation in the back end, right? And that is the consulting plus agency model. Because like what a lot of people do is they have a coaching business or they have an agency. So that means that people who have an agency are probably like, you know why it's easier to sell someone within the front end, right? It's very easy to sell someone if you have a coaching business. It's harder to get clients if you're an agency, right? It's easier to keep clients when you have an agency. It's harder to keep clients when you have a consulting model, right? So that is why you need to use them both. Make sure you get a lot of clients and you sustain those clients. You make sure that you empower them with a lot of value consistently, so it's sustainable and you have like a sustainable growth. That makes sense, right? And also the reason why it differentiates you is because people are not able to copy your ecosystem, your structure, but people are able to copy your information. Makes sense? So that is the way you can differentiate yourself from everyone else. And that is the only way you're able to get inbound, like boundless returns every single time, over and over again. Because you have exponential growth. When you only use the consulting model, what you simply do is you're kicking people out every 3 months, right? How could that be? Like, that's not, how are you ever able to fulfill more than 50 clients if you have to kick them out every single time? That is not possible. That is impossible. That's not like, you're not able to fulfill that amount of result. You're able to fulfill it, but then the value will decrease, right? The results will decrease like tremendously. So you need to make sure that you combine those two structures together. And that is something that a lot of people don't understand, but it's very important to do that. And this is exactly the same structure as with who you are hiring, right? Like overall, women are like cheaper to hire. Why don't you have like only women within your team? Tell me. Because men are capable of doing different things than women are, right? And that is the exact same thing as we are doing right here. The agency model, the infrastructure is capable of doing different things than the consulting model, but they're both good, right? The reason why I have men and women within my company, it is because they're both different and both good at doing their own thing.